All right, let's do one more example where we are doing a piecewise graph. Once again, I'm going to make guides anywhere any region that I have. So this one says x is less than 1. So I'm going to go to 1 on the x-axis, make a very light dotted line that's not actually part of my graph. And I'm going to indicate that since it's less than, the absolute value of negative x needs to, or sorry, negative absolute value of x needs to be to the left of 1. Now this one's tricky. 2 has to be right on 1 is what it's saying. That's actually pretty easy to graph. It's just confusing. So it's going to be right on this line. So I know 2 is just right on the line. So I'm just going to put it right above. And then last but not least, this last one, x minus 2 squared. Well, that's when x is greater than 1. So it's on the right side, to the right of 1. All right. So let's start with this the negative absolute value of x. Remember parent functions. Absolute value of x is just going to look like a v. This negative, though, is going to affect your y values, which means it's going to be an upside down v. Okay? So my vertex is just at positive 1, and then I'd have a v. Now at 1, remember it's not equal to, so I'm going to put an open circle on that dotted line. Anything besides the dotted line will always have a just a normal closed circle. Okay? So we just have this portion of the graph. Now, if you can't remember your parent functions or it's confusing in piecewise, what I always suggest to students is first plug in 1, because that's where this line is. Well, you'd have negative absolute value of 1, which is still negative 1. And then I could just plug in a few other values to the left. So I might try 0. Well, negative absolute value of 0 is 0. I could do negative 1. Negative absolute value of negative 1 is still negative 1. And then I could keep going if I wanted. That gives me enough that I can see the v. Okay. Now let's look at the second one. 2, we have f of x is equal to 2 when x equals 1. This is really just saying your y is 2 when x is 1. So you just put a point at 1, 2. Okay. That's all you do for that one. X minus 2 squared, so this is going to be the u shape. If you know your parent functions well, you'll know that this minus, since it's inside, affects your x's. So you're going along the x-axis, but you go the opposite direction of the sign. So I'm going to go right 2, and that's where my vertex will be. Then it's a parabola, so I know I have left 1, up 1. That's not equal to, so I'm going to put an open circle on that dotted line. Right 1, up 1, and then right 2, up 4. Like so. If you don't know that, though, your fail-safe is to go ahead and just start plugging things in. I always suggest wherever you see dotted lines, you plug those numbers in. So we'll do 1 minus 2 squared. Well, 1 minus 2 is negative 1. When you square a negative, you get a positive 1. Then I can put 2 in. 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 squared is 0. Then I can put in 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. And I can put in 4 just for good measure. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. What you'll notice is at the coordinate 1, 1, we have a point. At 2, 0, we have a coordinate. At 3, 1, we have a coordinate. And at 4, 4, we also have a coordinate. Okay? So if you need to, just use a table. Go through the whole table. And that's piecewise.